So Hanukkah is this really great time, don't you think? We have all of these. It was really hot up here before, by the way. And I am grateful to God that no alarms went off and there was smoke around. It's all good. We got it under control. You know, Hanukkah is, though, this really amazing, powerful thing. Look at all of these beautiful Chanukiot and there's light. And I love the idea of all of this light shining through us when it's the darkest time of the year. Like, that's powerful. And it's meaningful. And when we talk about Hanukkah, one of the things that we talk about most, well, there's two really. One is the power of this army winning a war, and the other is the miracle that happened when there was enough oil just for one day, but it lasted 8. Thank you. So, I was just looking for some help. So we have these 8 days of miracles, and it reminded me this whole idea of miracles, because I see people who are looking for miracles all the time. It's kind of my business, you know. They're waiting for the sea to split. They're waiting for something to happen. And in Israel, there's a popular saying: if you don't believe in miracles, then you're not a realist. And I think there's some real truth to that. If you don't believe in miracles, then you're not a realist. Believing in miracles comes kind of naturally for people that have gone through such struggles. Going back all the way to ancient times when the destruction of the Holy Temple, it is nothing less than a miracle that we're here. I really believe that way, because in the ancient world, when the temple was destroyed, so was the God that went along with it. But when our ancient temple was destroyed by the Babylonians, God survived. God wasn't even touched. So if God isn't contained in any kind of a building, that's this idea that we can survive despite calamities. And all through Jewish history, there have been really tough times. Whether it's the destruction of the temple or expulsions and exiles, certainly the Shoah. And despite all of those ashes and all of those different challenging times, we believe in miracles because we're kind of living it out. But we still don't know what a miracle is. And I'm reminded of Israel's first president, Chaim Weizmann, who also talked about miracles. He said that miracles sometimes occur, but one has to work terribly hard for them. And that's where I'm at. I'll say it again. Miracles sometimes occur, but one has to work terribly hard for them. He was cautioning us against believing in miracles too much, against depending on them so much that we forget what we're supposed to be doing here in this world. Because the miracles that God helps to create are because we are stepping forward to help make them happen. That, for me, is very much a miracle. In the morning service, tomorrow morning again, we say a whole bunch of blessings. This section is called Nisim B'chol Yom, blessings or miracles for the everyday. And this series of blessings, if you kind of look at the theme of the text, the miracles that we're recognizing is waking up, putting our feet on the ground, stretching. You know, God who frees the captive is our morning stretch, opens the eyes of the blind. We're kind of adjusting our eyes. It's just about getting up out of bed in the morning. And we often share that for some of us more and more, that's becoming more of a miracle all the time. And that, for me, is real. I'm not waiting for the sea to split. And I don't know about this, like I love the idea behind this one cruise of oil, right? One little jar container of oil that lasts for these 8 days. We were talking about it just the other day because we dedicated our solar panels. So that first thing of oil was initial renewable, sustainable energy, right? It's more than that. What's the truth that we're being taught? I think part of the idea of these miracles is also a response to what people thought from the books of Maccabees. In the book of Maccabees, there was a civil war, and those ancient Jews, they kind of won, and it was great, and we celebrate. But they thought it was all about them and their hands and their fists, and that they're the ones that created all of the miracles, and God wasn't really a part of it. Well, a few decades later, we see those same group of people kind of become corrupt in government. Don't say anything. And in that period of corruption, the rabbis respond with a teaching about this one jug of oil that lasts 8 days. So what's the truth about miracles? Is it that we can make them, or is it that God can make them? And I'm going to suggest to you, miracles happen when God gives us the potential and we seize it and we make miracles happen too. I do think getting out of bed every day is nothing less than miraculous, and we take it so much for granted. We don't really share that appreciation about what it means to take a deep breath until I'm at a point in my life where I can't really do that. And that hurt or that pain or discomfort. Then I recognize how miraculous just that breath was when I wasn't really paying attention. So what is it about all of these lights and candles? I do believe in miracles, but this is how I believe in it. It's through this story. A story is told about a pious Jew who boasts to his rabbi that he saved another Jew's soul. There was a man who was begging on the street, and he asked for a meal, and the man agreed, but he insisted first he must pray with him and say all of the afternoon mincha prayers. And before serving him a meal, he told that man who was begging for food, he ordered him to wash his hands and recite the appropriate blessings before eating anything. And only after saying the motzi was the man allowed to eat. And the rabbi was really annoyed with his students. And he says, there are times, my son, when you must act as if there were no God. And the student was really taken aback by that, really hurt and upset by that. It's fine, I'm louder, don't worry. He was really upset that his rabbi said, you have to act as if there is no God. And he protests to his rabbi. He says, how could I, a man of faith, act as if no God existed? And the rabbi replied, when someone comes to you in need, as this man did, act as if there were no God in the universe, as if you alone are in the world, and that there's no one to help him except for yourself. And the student, this disciple, asks his rabbi, don't I have any responsibility for his soul? And the rabbi answered him, take care of your soul and his body, not vice versa. Take care of your soul and his body. If we do that, we make miracles happen. I believe in a partnership, and I'm totally fine with being the junior partner. If God is the senior partner, and I'm a partner too, and you're a partner too, then we have a role to make those miracles happen, and not just to have them, but to make them contagious, to bring them out into the world. I think our problem becomes that we think we can make these miracles happen all by ourselves. And for me, that's not so far from narcissism. Where is it that we get to have an encounter? So I mentioned the story about the book of Maccabees and Hanukkah, and I talked about the cruse of oil that's written about in the Mishnah, and how we're told to have faith in God to help make miracles, and I believe that's the truth that we're being taught. God can make them through us, through you. You have that gift. You have that potential, you have that spark, you have these lights, and at the darkest time of the year, as we say over and over and over again, we add light. There was a debate in the Talmud. Do you start with 8 and go to 1? Or do you start with 1 and go to 8? Do you light them all at once? All week long, you just have all 8 shining bright. Well, it was very clear, because Hillel won the argument, and he always does. And he says, you have to start with 1 and go to 8, because we can't take away light. So if our job is to bring that light, then as David Wolpe, a rabbi in Los Angeles, will teach all of the time, is that you can be the shamash, right? The shamash is the helper candle. How do you make that light contagious? If we want a society that is just and compassionate, we can't just pray about it. We have to play a part. We can be creator of miracles. all of these young kids are waiting for us to do so. And that's how they're going to learn to do it too. Let's turn back to the